getting 4-8 million. Quinn Ewers getting offered 8 million. There's a lot of money out there. Matthew Slocum has to be one of the most controversial players of the 2024 college football season. If you don't remember, the UNLV quarterback sat after 3 games, going undefeated and leading UNLV to what most people thought was the lead of the group of 5 teams. Now, UNLV did go on to finish out the season without Matt Slocum, who claimed that there was hundreds of thousands of dollars that were promised to him that weren't paid out to him. They actually ended up going all the way to the Mountain West Championship. They seem to have a decent team and a decent group of backups, but the bigger story is more about NIL. And is he, selfish? Is he a quitter? Is he being wrongfully judged for some people who promised money that they shouldn't have? The biggest issue here is that there's no contract, so it doesn't really matter who it is. Matt Slocum was SOL, and a lot of people in the world of traditionalism in college football were very mad to Matthew Slocum. And if y'all remember my video, I was like, it seems like there was some money that was promised that didn't get paid. In fact, we listened to an interview. We're going to listen to that interview and talk about, because he entered the transfer portal and just so happened to land at JMU. Now, that wouldn't be significant if, one, JMU wasn't one of the first schools, apparently, that's going to start legally playing players through the revenue sharing, and 2, was his head coach at Holy Cross. So we've got some history here. We have a lot to unpack, but right here, right now, congratulations to UNLV, former UNLV quarterback Matt Slocum, for committing to JMU. Now, JMU, if you don't know, is an up-and-coming school out in the Carolinas on the East Coast. A lot of good stuff recently just came up to the FBS level, so they are really working to make some great things happen. So by all means, for a mid-level quarterback, I know he didn't get the Power 4 team that he was probably expecting, but he definitely got a school with a decent reputation and is looking to start to churn out some NFL players. But what does this, really mean overall? First off, let's take you back. Let's take you all the way back through the whole NIL situation. Here's a quick hitter on the Matthew Slocum situation. Nicole Arbach, she does some great stuff for college football on Twitter. See if she does a little recap of what it was a few months back.
UNLV's starting quarterback Matthew Slocum announced on social media that he will redshirt and not play in any of the Rebels' remaining games this season. UNLV is 3-0. They've got 2 wins over Big 12 teams. The first time they're 3-0 since 1984. They're actually a CFP contender this season. I know it's early, but all of that is very much true. And now all of a sudden, 3 games into the season, their starting quarterback is like, peace, I'm done, over some NIL disputes.
The NIL doomsday people are going to take a victory lap off of this one, because these are the situations that they talked about. Like, a kid gets promised something, he doesn't get it. Now you've got to hold out. This is like perfect storm with.
And I don't think I can keep watching because that music in the background, but great points. I wish we could keep watching it, but YouTube will clap me. But the perfect, I think, because I really just wanted an update, because I wanted you to feel kind of how it felt at the time, because at the time this was insane, right? This was the first we'd ever seen, specifically over NIL dispute. This was huge. And of course, the Fox 5 people saying that they confirmed that former UNLV quarterback Slocum was verbally promised a minimum $100,000 from a UNLV assistant coach for transferring there. The report, Slocum only receiving $3,000 relocation stipend are confirmed by his NIL representative. Wow. So this is confirmed now. Okay. UNLV has approached with more money to transfer. Okay, so he was approached with more money to transfer, and again, of course, he only allegedly received $3,000. I forgot that's crazy to be promised $100,000 and to get $3,000 is absolutely insane. Again, he's a quarterback, so he should be expecting top of the market money, right? That's just the way of the world of college football, and the way of the world of football, right? The Q is going to get a little more money even if he is just at UNLV. And crazy enough to think about that, like I alluded to at the beginning, they were one of the most, they were the prominent team. They were like, oh yeah, this could be one of the group of 5. It was them, App State. I don't even think Boise State was on that list until they started going crazy. Ashton Genties started going crazy. So it's just an interesting look back at that. And then on top of that, a lot of people were being very, very hard on him, and understand that UNLV quarterback Matt Slocum is reuniting with Holy Cross head coach Bob Chesney at JMU. Here's Bob Chesney at JMU last season talking about his former quarterback and kind of alluding to the bigger issues that probably happened that resulted.
Yeah, I don't know the details because.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry if you had headphones on. Wow. I'm about to turn this down. What the?
It's there. You can't have conversations with them. I just know that, anybody that's ever played football for me and sweated or bled on that field for me, I stand by 100%. I think Matt, this, I don't know the details again, but I can assure you it has nothing to do with money. Matt had opportunities to leave Holy Cross for hundreds of thousands of dollars and stayed, and then he had opportunities again in the spring after the spring season was over and some major college football coaches lost their starters to the portal, that they called me and reached out to me, and Matt wasn't, and my text chain with them is he's not going to be bought. He found a place that he really likes and trusts and believes in him, and he believes in them, and he's not probably going to move off it. And he had offers for 550 and 600s and 350s, and he wasn't moving off of that because he gave his word. Whatever happened there, I can't necessarily speak to, but I can assure you that has nothing to do with money. This maybe trust and word and things of that nature it has to do with, but he's not a guy that could be bought. He's not like he's not a normal person when it comes to that. He wanted to go to the best situation possible, and he wanted to play football as hard as he possibly can, and money never had anything to do with it. So
First of all, what a great recruiter, huh? Well, hey, what a great recruiter, because clearly it worked out because he's at JMU. So just to kind of, you got to shout out when a head coach is doing head coach stuff. That's a head coach move, man. Thinking a few months in the future, he's like, wait a minute, let me make sure I talk positive. But no, in all seriousness, I think that again, we're talking about 3,000 and 100,000. We're not talking about 75,000 and 100,000. Like, I think that we can all agree that if 75,000 was given to him, and with the rest of it's in incentives, I would feel a way. I would feel a way, but that's a different game, right? That's okay. All right, whatever. We're talking about 97% of the money that you promised me is fake in Fugazi. That's insane. That is absurd. That is a level of distrust that that is somebody trying to punk you. You being a quarterback at a group, I know it's just group of 5, but UNLV in Nevada, right? In next to Las Vegas, you know what I'm saying? You in Las Vegas right now. For by all intents and purposes, you play in the goddamn black hole that Notre Dame, that the Raiders just built, and I'm only getting 3,000. Nah, dog. We got some problems. We got some major issues. So first off, congratulations to Matt Slocum, because people were talking crazy about him. Again, at the time, he was the only quarterback remaining in the 24/7 top 200, and obviously he was the one who left. There hasn't been much P4 interest according to 24/7, so I guess there wasn't as much power for interest, but he still went ahead and gets his deal signed, and I'm sure he got lots of money, or enough money, because like I alluded to. Now, there's this little article, obviously, as things start to happen, as the rollout of revenue sharing happens, JMU is one of the people who starts that gradual transition. So exactly how JMU begins to paying athletes directly and how much money that will involve remains unclear. Well, we know hardworking regular students subsidize 75% of James Madison athletics by way of increased tuition add-ons. So, yeah, this account is he's a little anti-NIL, but yeah, he's telling the truth. 75% of the money is coming from admissions and things of that nature. Now, James Madison is officially transitioned from the era of the name, image, and likeness collective. Well, in preparation for a revenue-sharing model, likely coming to Division I sports. Exactly how JMU begins to pay directly and how much money that will involve remains unclear, and it remains possible that proposed settlement of the House versus NCAA federal court case driving the move toward revenue sharing could be rejected. But the probability of the settlement and an IRS crackdown on college sports collectives operating at nonprofits has the Dukes moving towards a new model. Through a JMU spokesperson told a Daily News Record that the school officials could offer more details next month. It's already been announced that JMU athletic director Matt Rohn, that the collective will no longer accept donations. Certainly the donations that have already been received will be paid out to our student athletes and JMU Soundproof Podcast, but we can step in now, and I think the pending House settlements allow us to step in and start to receive the balance of those pledges. And certainly for those who are interested in giving NIL, they can work directly with the Duke club staff or just to do that. Should the House settlement go through, it would allow the richest schools, mostly in power conferences, to distribute a maximum amount of revenue sharing with athletes of around $20 million. In Virginia, where the state law already prohibits the NCAA from regulating NIL payments to collectives players. VCU announced that it will opt into revenue sharing to the tune of around $5 million. Interesting. The Rams are a member of the Atlantic 10 Conference and do not have a football program. JMU has made no such announcement on much money it plans to share with athletes, but the transition away from the collective model and the launch of the school's Honors One NIL platform are the initial steps towards revenue sharing. Now, the biggest thing here is the fact that a lot of these schools, even Notre Dame, announces they're getting rid of their collectives in the hopes of that happening. So it's very interesting that JMU is one of the few schools that have a clear path to how they want to pay players, and a player who has a problem getting paid is going there. So it seems that, again, it's not about money. I don't think JMU has infinitely more money than UNLV, right? I think it's really more about the promises that being kept. And I think this goes to kind of bolster the point for Matthew Slocum, right? It's not about the money. I mean, the kid only wanted $100,000. I know only $100,000 is crazy, but we have Carson Beck getting $8 million. Quinn Ewers getting offered $8 million. There's a lot of money out there. So only get $100,000, I think is a little smaller there. So I'm sure he's not trying to cash out anywhere. I'm sure he's trying to go to the NFL and find a good place to do it. He gets to go to a more comfortable place with a former head coach. So I'm happy that they did what they did. So and of course they're picking up child JMU because they're picking up other recruits, stuff like that. So now let's talk about UNLV, because they were not supposed to be broke, but people were saying that. But it seems like they're starting to kick in the right direction. Now, it helps when you have Dan Mullen, right? When you have a former SEC head coach, a lot of people are going to start navigating over there. But in the wake of the Matthew Slocum situation, it doesn't seem like people are very, very afraid of joining UNLV. Obviously, a lot of former Florida players. Dan Mullen is going ahead and snatching up Texas A&M, SEC guys. I believe he's former Gator too. But all these guys, SEC guys, and of course you got Alex Orji, who, if you know anything about Dan Mullen and him operating the Gators back in the day, he's going to be extremely familiar or extremely comfortable with coaching a dual threat type quarterback. I think this is going to be a great fit for Alex Orji, a decent fit for UNLV. So I think it's good that both sides are kind of bouncing back. I really think this was a thing where someone got a fake promise. I don't think this is something where UNLV was broke, they didn't have the money, or that Matthew Slocum was some money hungry dude like people tried to pan out to be. I think lies were being told, and now happily Matthew Slocum is in place with a head coach that he's already played with for 3 years. So things can get sorted out, things can be cool, things can be clear, and JMU is on the head of starting the real legal way of paying players. We can only hope that things work out in the right way, because the way this former NIL era is going, lots of craziness, man. Lots of craziness. But you leave a like on this video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy college football content, and we will see you next time, man. Peace.